Hey you, this is Jasim from CodeBand, and in this video we are going to be automating the procedure of creating a new repository in GitHub. So the kind of idea is usually when we start a new project and get the boilerplate ready, what we'll do is we'll just go to github.com and we'll just log in first, and then we'll just create that repository with the name, and also we'll set the visibility to public or private, and then we'll create the repository. Then we'll grab that remote path from there. We'll just copy and paste that in our terminal, in our local terminal, and then we'll just push that to the remote repository. That's the usual procedure we often do when we actually start a new project, right? So this kind of going into the GitHub and making that repository and so on will automate every single step, and with just a single command in your project terminal, it'll automatically make that repository, whether it is public or private, whatever it be. It'll just make that, and it'll just print that remote path so that you can just paste that in there. So you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to open browser and stuff like that. You just do everything in the terminal itself with just single command, something like createrepo.py followed by the repository name and the access or the visibility to be private or public. Okay, so with that, that's the kind of idea or the procedure that we are going to be doing. And if you are very brand new to this video, I mean, this is a part of a Python automation series, so I highly recommend you to watch those previous videos in this series, at least the first 3 items, because there I talk about the introduction and installation part of this entire automation stuff. So I highly recommend you to watch that, because I'll not be explaining those stuff in this video, because it'll be it'll save a lot of time, because if you just watch that would be comfortable. And yeah, with that, those links will be in the description section below, so you can just watch that and come back in here. So with that, if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon near to it. So without any further, let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so we are back in the project boilerplate. We have the boilerplate up and running here in the VS Code, and now the kind of idea that we are going to be following is I'll quickly run the script and show you that in a second. So Python 3 main.py, but before that I'll quickly move into my src directory. You can see the project setup here. This is the src, and we have the config and main.py there. So the main is our main script, so I'll quickly run that script, Python 3 main.py, just like that, so that it'll open the Chrome browser, and I'll just go to github.com/login. So the first procedure before creating a repository is always logging into your account, so that's why we are in here. So we'll quickly type in those things and show you the kind of procedure that we are going to be following. So I'll sign in, and then we'll be in this repository in the home page. Now then what we'll do is we'll click this new icon here, or we can just go to github.com/new, this URL, and then what we'll do is we'll just create a repository with the name, and we'll choose the public or private and stuff like that, and then we'll just click on this create repository, so just like this one, and then it'll automatically create a repository. Then what we'll do is we'll just copy this remote path from here, and or if it's a very brand new project, then we'll just add those things here. That's up to you. You can customize in whatever way you wish to. But the kind of procedure is you'll just copy this remote path, and you'll just paste that in here. Now this one actually, sorry for that, I haven't copied that stuff from there. So then you'll just do the other commands. You'll just paste that, and those things are pushed. So this is the kind of entire workflow when you have a project, then the kind of workflow when you need to create a repository, right? So this is what we are going to be automating. So the first procedure, as I have shown you, is going into the login page, github.com/login, just like that. And now let me quickly go into that and show you what we need to do next. So github.com/login, excuse me, I'm logged in already. So yeah, I'll go to github.com/login, this URL. Now we need to fetch these things. We need to just sign in with that account. So if you have watched those previous videos in this series, you should definitely do this on your own, because you know how to deal with things like input fields and stuff like that. So it's a quick challenge for you. Just grab those username field and password field and send in those keys and just sign in with this account. So pause the video and give it a try. So I hope you managed to do that. So in our case, before we actually move into getting these items, I have a config.py file being set up here. So it has that username and password there. So I'll quickly fill in my username and password, and then I'll quickly come into that main.py. So I have typed those username and password, which is in my config.py, and now I'll just quickly import that. So from config, import that username and we import that password. Okay, so it's been here in the username and password variables. Now I'll quickly fetch the stuffs. I'll inspect and find whatever it is, the name or something similar. So as a name to be login, I'll quickly zoom the things out. Okay, so name is equal to login. I'll get rid of, yeah, I'll make this a bit shorter. So name is equal to login, which is a username field, and for the password field is name is equal to password. So we can just quickly grab that in a second or so. So what I'll say is username field is equal to browser dot, not breakpoint actually, it's browser dot find element by name, and the name is login. It's login, we have already seen that. And then similar way we'll fetch the password field is equal to browser dot find element by name, just like that, and it's a password. Okay, the name is password. Now we'll just send the keys. So send keys, and the key is nothing but the username we have already fetched from the config. And then similarly we'll just say password field dot send keys and the password, just like that. Okay, so it's perfect. It's not password, it's capital D, just like that. Okay, so now we are done with it, and now the last thing is just clicking on the sign in button. Now you can just fetch that and click on that, but the elegant way is to just submit that form by accessing any of that form field. So in my case, I'll just access this username field dot submit. Okay, just like that, so that it'll just submit that form, so that we will be logged into that account, right? So with that, we'll be good to go. So let's run the script in an interactive shell, so you can just test things out. So Python 3, and I'll have that flag -i main.py. And I'll get rid of the other thing that, I'll quickly get rid of that. Okay, so yeah, we are logged into the GitHub account. So now you can see this stuff here. Now the procedure is to create a new repository. So I'll just click on that new there. But instead we can just go to this URL, which is the same thing. So I'll quickly copy that URL out there. Before that, I'll maximize the window so you can see it in full screen. So browser dot maximize window, just like that. Now we need to go to that URL of creating a new repository. So browser.get, and this is the URL, just like that. And now what we need to do is we need to type in the repository name, right? So I'll quickly inspect that. Now before we actually inspect, the idea is we'll be running commands like something like this one. So Python 3 main.py, and the argument that we pass in will be the repository name. So something like new repo, something like this one. This is the repository name, and the next argument we'll be passing is the visibility. So whether it is private or public. So by default it will be public, which means even if you don't pass a second argument, it will be treated as public. Now if you do pass that something like private, then it'll be treated in that way. It'll be a private repository, right? So this is the kind of workflow that we'll be dealing with. So before we actually type in that repository name here, we need to actually grab that from that terminal argument. Okay, so for that, what I can possibly do is, before we actually deal with the browser, quickly say try except block. So try, and in order to get that argument, I need to import sys. So sys module, and now I'll say repo name variable is equal to sys.argv. So argv will be a list of arguments that we pass into this script. So the first thing here would be the argument of 0 will be the file name, and argv of 1, index 1 will be the repository name. So we'll have something like sys.argv of 1. So now except is for if this is not found, which means if argv of 1 is not there, which means if we have forgot to pass in that repository name, then we need to just just print that we have just forgot to mention the repository name. So please provide a repo name, just like that. Okay, and we'll just exit out of this by saying sys.exit. Otherwise all these things will be executed, which we don't need. Okay, so sys.exit. So this whole thing will just grab that repository name if it exists. Otherwise it will give you this sort of error out there. Okay, so with that it's okay. Now we also need to pass in that second argument. So if it was a repo name was new repo, the second argument, if it is a private repository, we need to mention it as private. If it is public, we don't have to explicitly state that, because it will be the default behavior. So we'll also make that in a try except block as well. So try except, I'll quickly get rid of this the exception there. So in the try except, the same thing. Maybe I'll make this as visibility is equal to the same thing, sys.argv of this time it is 2, this index 2, which means the third item. So main.py first, second, and third item. Now if it is there, okay, if it is a public or private, if we just pass in that private, then that will be here in the visibility. Now by default visibility will be public, right? So even if he doesn't pass that, we have to make it as public. So I'll quickly make visibility is equal to public. Just like this one, public. Okay, so this is it. Now you can of course customize this one. Maybe like if he just passed in a single letter or so on, you just make that private and stuff like that, or based upon the flag. It's up to you how you can customize that, but I'll stick with this one. If he has passed private, then that will be taken, otherwise it will be public. Okay, so that's okay. Now we are done with it. Now we need to just type in the repository name. So I'll quickly inspect that here, and I'll zoom out things so you can see it's an input and it has a name of repository name. So I'll just quickly copy this name here. So quickly copy that, and then what I'll do is at the bottom, what I'll do is I'll quickly grab that repository name. So repository, or maybe I'll just say name field is equal to browser.find element by name, just like that, and we'll just pass in that name. Now we need to pass in name field dot send keys, and the keys we want to send is this one, the repo name that we have fetched from the argument. So send keys of repo name, and then it's okay. Now the next thing we have to deal with is the public and private. So if it is public, we need to tick this radio button, otherwise we need to tick this one. So based upon that, we need to make things up. So I'll quickly inspect that as well. So it's this one. Input class is equal to, it's a type radio, and value, there is something called value is equal to public, and there's also name is equal to repository visibility. So we'll use expand to dynamically set whether it is public or private. So for that, what I can possibly do is maybe I'll say the visibility field is equal to browser Sorry for that. Browser dot find element by not name, find element by XPath. Now the XPath starting with // now it's an input tag, okay, input tag, and it has a name of let me quickly search the name here. So the name is a repository visibility, so I'll quickly copy that. Okay, so we'll just use this as name is equal to repository visibility, and then in order to make things dynamic, we need to add that value. Okay, the value is depends upon the public or private. Okay, value is public, or in other case, let me quickly inspect that as well. So it's the value is private. Okay, so this value will be getting from the user input. So if it is if he has specified, then we'll use that. So which is saved in the visibility here. Okay, so in order to make things dynamic, I need to make this as f string. So I'll add an f there, and in curly braces, what I can do is I can say visibility. Okay, just like that. And we're good to go. Now we need to just click on that item, whether it is public or private. It will automatically select dynamically. Okay, so that's okay. Now visibility is done. Now all we need to do is just creating a repository. Okay, so herein you can pretty much grab this one and click. Otherwise you can just submit based upon we did earlier. Okay, so what I'll do instead is I'll say name field dot submit, so that it'll just submit that form for me. Now there are some problems here, like if the repository already exists. So say for example there's something called new is available. So new repo. Okay, this new repo is already taken. Okay, so will not be able to create that repository for us. But since we are using this submit here, it'll submit the form regardless of this check here. So you can there are a couple of ways to deal with it. You can just grab this button here, and based upon whether it is disabled or something, you can have that that exception being raised there. Otherwise, what you can possibly do is I'll show you that way. We'll be using that way, so you'll get to know that in a minute. So we'll first of all submit that. Okay, and let me quickly run the script so you can see that. So what I'll do is yeah, maybe we can just paste that in, since we are in interactive shell and our we are on the correct page. So I'll get rid of this one, and let's check if this works. So I'll quickly grab that and paste that. Okay, and repo name is not defined. Oh, we haven't restarted the shell after we added this stuff. So what I'll do is I'll exit out of the shell, and we'll just run it again. I'll get rid of the other thing. Okay, there is some errors. List index out of range, and yeah, that's because it's because we haven't passed those things, right? We haven't passed the repository name, so it is exiting out of the console, out of the shell. We need to provide the repository name. Okay, and that's shown here. Okay, so for that, what I'll do is Python main.py. Repository name is something like maybe a new repo, so that I can test that validation, because this repository already exists. So if I click that, then it will open that for me, and it just logged in to that account. And what it just typed in a new repo there and submitted the form, but it says repository creation failed. Okay, so that's because we already have that repository name over there, so that's why it just failed. So we need to catch that exception, or we need to provide the user that this repository already exists. So I've already told you one way of doing it with this submit button here, but what we'll be doing is we'll just proceed with the next step. So say for example, I'll just create some FDAF, and I'll just create repository, so it's legitimate that this one is not existing. So what we'll do is upon submitting, if we didn't see this page, then we'll raise an exception, like already there is a repository named this one. Okay, if we didn't see this one, or if we just manage to get these steps here, then which means there's no problem. So that's what we'll be taking. You can of course take the other approach of analyzing and submit button. So what we'll do is we'll just say try and accept, which means the things that we are going to be doing assumes that we are in this page. Okay, so if anything crashes, which means if we are not able to find these steps here, then it will just go to accept block, and then we can just say like print something like repository creation failed, just like that. Okay, and maybe we can just pass in a hint, a repo name should be unique. Okay, should be unique, just like that. Okay, so so we just handle those things. Now what we need to do is, in this page, it's pretty much up to you. You might be dealing with this one, just making readme and committing and stuff like that. That's okay. If you're doing this way, you can just copy this one and just paste that. Otherwise, you can just do this one. You just need to add the remote, and that's what the whole thing you need, because you have already set up the files and folders. So in that case, you need to copy this one and just paste it into the terminal. So this icon here will just copy that these contents into the clipboard. Okay, so we'll just click that so that it's being copied into the clipboard, and then we'll use Hyperclip to just paste that into the terminal. Okay, so we'll just grab this icon here, little clipboard icon. So yeah, it's I'll just zoom things out. So it's a clipboard copy tag here, you can see, and there is something called for empty setup push repo echo. So in the other one, in the new repository case, the for is different. Okay, the for is empty setup new repo, it's new. The other one is the old, as you have seen here. The other one is push repo echo. Okay, so based upon this one, you can pretty much do customize whatever things you can just copy that, but I'll stick with this one. Okay, just for now I'll stick with this one. So I need to click this icon here, which is a clipboard copy and has this for. So what I'll do is I'll quickly do that by XPath. So what I'll do is maybe I'll say content. Okay, just like that, content is equal to, or maybe not content, it's clipboard button, something like that. Okay, clipboard button is equal to browser dot find element by XPath, and then // it's a clipboard copy tag. Okay, so I'll quickly grab that clipboard copy from there. So clipboard copy tag, and then we have that dynamic content. I mean, we have that for is equal to, right? So this for is equal to, I'll just copy that from there, and I'll just paste that for is equal to empty, that stuff. So we'll select, we have just selected that, and now we need to just click that so that we'll have that items, that code in the clipboard. So dot click, just like that, and now we need to use Hyperclip to just output that content to the terminal. Okay, so what you can possibly do is print Hyperclip. So I need to import Hyperclip at the top. Now before we actually import it, we need to make sure that we have installed that package. So it's simple. You can just say in the terminal, this is inside the shell, not here. Outside of that, in the terminal, you can just say pip install Hyperclip, just like that. And if you're a Mac user, you might need to end up doing pip3. If you're Windows, just manage with pip. Okay, so make sure you have installed that package, and then you just need to import that at the top. And then what you can do is you can just say hyperclip.paste. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just paste the copied content, which upon clicking this button, it'll just copy, and then we'll paste that in here, which means it'll just print that those 3 lines over there. Okay, so that's what the entire logic is, and with that I believe everything would be perfect. So now also have that validation, right? So if we didn't manage to grab this clipboard button here, which means the repository creation failed, and we have to just double check if the name is unique and so on. Okay, so with that, everything is perfect. So let me quickly run the script again by exiting out of there, and maybe this time we'll end up doing maybe a private repository. So I'll say newest, okay, just like that, and we'll mention private here. okay, and click enter. So I'll open that stuff. I'll get rid of the other terminal here. So logged in, just click that newest, and now it's submitted. And what you know, if we just go into the terminal, you can see that we got that stuff. We got all these stuff: git remote, add origin. That 3 lines of code we have fetched from here successfully. Now the developer just need to just copy and paste this and on the terminal, and all these things will be done automatically. Okay, it doesn't have to manually go to github.com and do those steps. Okay, so everything is automated. Now you can be more super cool. You can make this more super cool by just executing these commands in the script as well, which I'll not be talking about. You can absolutely do that, and it'll be more cool as well. Okay, so with that, everything is being set up, and now I have a couple of things to do. The first one is we don't want this browser to be showing every time we need to create a repository, right? So we might be doing like assume that we are in the project directory in the terminal, and then if you just say like something like createrepo.py, and then we pass in that the repository name. If it is private, we will pass that private flag there. And now if you click enter, then what it'll do is it'll open that browser and do the stuff. We don't need to actually see that browser and stuff. We just need the output, right? So in order to make that work, I need to make the Chrome headless. Headless means it'll not show you that GUI, okay? I'll just do the things and give that output, okay? So for that, what I'll need to do is after we actually fetch these stuffs, I'll make the browser headless. So for that, what I'll do is I'll say Chrome underscore options is equal to webdriver.chrome options. Okay, there is something called Chrome options class, so I'll instantiate that. And now what I can do is Chrome options dot add argument. There's a method called add argument, and the argument is -- headless. Okay, just like that, -- headless. So what this will do is it'll just get rid of that GUI. We'll just see the output as well. Okay, so I need to add that the instantiation of the Chrome here. So I need to pass in options is equal to this Chrome options here, just like that. Okay, now with that, if I exit out of the console, if I just exit and run that stuff again, so this time I'll get rid of the -i flag there. Instead I'll just say the regular one, so some random name, and just get things out. Now you cannot see a browser being there. As you can see, everything is headless, no browser is being opened, and it just printed out me that Chrome options. I don't know why that happens. Okay, so there is something we are missing. It is just printing Chrome options. Okay, there is something that we are missing, which should not be happened. Okay, Hyperclip. Yeah, okay, so the thing is the problem is the Hyperclip.paste will just paste the thing that we have just copied before. Okay, so in case of the headless browser or the headless tag being enabled, there is no GUI. So even if we click that clipboard icon, there is no place to store that in the clipboard. There will be no clipboard since we don't have a GUI. Okay, instead what we'll just paste is the previously copied stuff. Okay, so this is a kind of caveat with the headless thing. If it is headless, then we'll have no GUI, so there will be no clipboard. So this copying with that by clicking that icon would not work there. So in that case, what we'll end up doing is we'll just hard code this one. Not just hard coding. We'll just change only this one here, this newest here. Now I'll show you that we have already created this new FDSF repository, but only that printing statement is missing from there. Okay, so if I go to that, if I just paste that, you can see that that repository is being created, but this copying is not working. Okay, copy and paste, because we have no GUI. Okay, so in those cases, what you can possibly do is I'll quickly copy this one here, and I'll get rid of this Hyperclip stuff there. Before we actually do and copy paste that enter stuff, I'll say like print, and we'll make f strings, and I'll just copy that first line of code there, and I'll just paste that. Now in here, the only thing that changes is just the repository name. Everything is the same. Okay, so what you can possibly do is I'll make this one dynamic by saying repo name, which we have passed, which you have received from the argument. Okay, so that's okay. Now we need to just print the other two stuff, the other two commands from here. So I'll just quickly copy that, and I'll paste again. We'll have the other one as well, the third one. Just copy that and paste. Now this is optional. These two things are optional. That's up to you. If you want to leave that, you can just leave. If you just need all these remote, that's up to you. And with this, everything should be working. Now if I say maybe final repository, it's again a private. Okay, so if I click that, and we need to make sure that it's actually private. Okay, so it's running that stuff, and what do you know, we got that stuff. Okay, we got that thing, we got that remote being there, final.git. So let's quickly go to this link here so you can see whether it's a valid one. Okay, so I'll just copy that, and in our browser we'll just paste that in final.git, and what do you know, we are inside this one, so that repository is being created, and yeah, what do you know, it's private too. So that private is working, these things are working, everything is working perfectly fine. Now the only thing we are left behind is executing the script from anywhere in the system. Okay, so we are currently in our script directory, so that we can just type in Python main.py. Now assume you will be in a different directory, in a different project directory, and you just want to create or execute this command from there, and that will not work unless you add this path absolutely. So something like Python not just the main.py, maybe like document / and you just need to provide that absolute path, and then only it will work. So I don't need that behavior. What I need is something like maybe like createrepo.py, and just like that. Okay, maybe I need to pass in that repository name, and then if it is private, I need to pass private. So I need to execute something like this one. Okay, createrepo.py, and in this fashion from anywhere in my system. Okay, regardless of being in this directory or that directory, if I say something like this one, it should create the repository for me. Okay, this is what I want to achieve next. So the procedure is a bit different in Windows and Mac, so I'll show you the Mac way first, and then I'll show you the Windows way. So in case of Mac, what you can possibly do is adding this one to the path. Okay, adding this src, this folder into the path. So just open up your terminal. Okay, and I'm using a Z shell. Okay, in my case, now you might be using bash or something. The procedure is pretty much similar. What you want to do is, in order to add this folder to path, so we need to edit a file called sudo nano, and in the home directory there is a file named .shrc. Okay, so if it is like a bash shell, then it will be like bash rc. Now in my case it is Z shell, so zhrc. So just edit that file by typing in something like this one. So I'll zoom this stuff so you can see that. Okay, it's like this, and I need to enter that password, and then you can see something like this one. There will be something like export path equal to the first line. You can see here export path is equal to, and now we need to add this path. Okay, so add a colon at the end, add a colon, and then you need to grab this path, the src path here. So I'll reveal this in Finder, and yeah, this is the src here. So what I can do is I'll quickly say control or command C, and in the terminal I'll just say command V, and then that path is being here. Okay, so you can see that path over here. The users and AKJASM documents, Python, and the code band, since it have a space, I'll make this as code space band, since that is this exact thing, src. Okay, now in your case it will be that path. Okay, it should have that src, it should have that main.py file. Okay, so just like that, and this would do the trick. Now I'll just save this. So control X, then click on Y and click on enter, and it'll just save that, and now it'll be okay. Now one more thing I have to do is, before we actually run the script, is that I need to first restart the server. So restarting restart the terminal. So I'll just quickly close this VS Code here and reopen that, so that the terminal is restarted. And now I'll just go to that src folder. Yeah, I need to first go to this one. Okay, I need to go to the Python automation right there, and then I need to go to cd src. Okay, now what I can do is I can just say like main.py, and then the same thing, repository name, and if it is private you can mention private. But before we actually we can do this, we need to set the permission to execute this main.py. So for that what I can do is in here what I should do is chmod. So we're changing the permissions, and we say plus X, which means execution permission, and then what we can possibly do is we can say main.py. So we are changing the main.py to have that execution permission. Okay, so with that that execution permission is there. Now I'll quickly change the name here, so something like we have discussed before, create or just create. Now you can have that create repo. Okay, just like that, createrepo.py. Okay, we have changed those things. Now one more thing we are left behind is since we are saying like createrepo.py without that Python 3 at the beginning, so we need to specify that this file should be handled by that Python interpreter. Okay, so we need to add that that at the top, which one which process will be handled this script. Okay, so for that what I'll do is I'll say like in the terminal itself, I'll say which Python 3. Okay, since we're in Mac or we are not using any kind of virtual environment, we'll just say which Python 3, and then we'll get some path, right? So I'll just say that path, I'll just copy that path, and then at the top of the script, at the first line, what you can do is hash and followed by an exclamation mark, then command V. Okay, so I'll just paste that path at the top, which says that this Python 3 is the one which should handle the script. Okay, and that's about it. Now with this being saved, what I can possibly do is I'm in a different directory. I'm in the home directory, not in the place where this src is there. So in the terminal, what I can now say is create repo.py, and then the repository name, maybe I'll say final last, and this time no private. So I'll click enter, and there's some errors, create repo.py. Oh, that's because we haven't reopened this terminal here. So I'll quickly reopen there, and then I'll quickly say that create repo.py final last, and what do you know, it's being executed because since it's headless, it's not showing that Chrome browser there. And what do you know, we have just created those steps. Okay, you can see that final last.git there, and it's actual. Okay, if I just copy that and come back in here, and if I paste that, you can see that that repository is being created. It's not private since we haven't added that private flag there, and everything is working perfectly fine. So this is about the Mac thing. Now for the Windows, the process is I'll quickly show you like environment or maybe setting. I'll show you in a second. Setting path in Windows, just like that, Windows, and yeah, I'll select this one. Okay, so it's pretty much simple. What you could do is just go to start, okay, start, and search for env. Then I'll put the link in the description section, by the way, so you can just follow, and just type in env and you should find something like this one. Edit the system environment variables. Just click on that and just click on, it'll just pop up this one. Click on environment variables. You'll find something like this one. In the system variable section, you'll be having a path. Just click on edit here, as you can see, and then it'll pop up this window. Just click on the new here, so they can add something like this one, and in there you just add in that that path. The path is nothing but where your createrepo.py file is there. Okay, so I have changed this name to be createrepo, by the way. So just paste that path of the src. Okay, so you can see documents, Python, codeband. Similarly, there will be that path. Just copy that path in here. Just click OK, and just click OK, and then what you can possibly do is just restart that CMD there, and then you can pretty much execute in this manner. Okay, create repo, just like this one, createrepo.py, and final last, and in this way you can just execute and you'll get the same exact result. Okay, so that's how you'll deal in Windows, and this is all about it. This is all about the repository creation. Now the things, some things I have to keep a note of is the GitHub has a security feature. Like if you log in a lot of times, then at some point of time they'll show you, they'll just make a verification, like they'll send a verification code to your email and you just need to enter. So in those cases, what you can possibly do is, there are a couple of ways. The first way is just adding that Chrome profile here, which I have discussed in the previous WhatsApp automation video, how to add a profile, Chrome profile, so that you don't have to deal with that login all the time. Only the first time is required. So you can just do that way, or else what you can do is, if it asks for that verification code, which means your code will fail to execute at this moment. Okay, if you just submit the form, you'll not end up reaching this one in the new tab. So this code will fail. This would say like the name field is not found and something similar. So in that case, you have to think of like it's because of that verification code problem it's being asked. So in that case, what you can do is just go to github.com manually in your browser, and then just log out of your current session, log in again, just the manual thing, just log out and log in, and then if you run the script, then there will not be any sort of issues. The things would run for perfectly fine for some amount of time. Okay, usually it'll not be, only make problems when it's too loud. Okay, maybe 100 or something. Okay, so that's about the things, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any doubts or any sort of suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below, and if you have sort of any errors, also please let me know in the comment section so that I can solve that. And with that, if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button, and also the kind of Python automation thing will be there. The link will be in the description section to the repository of this project, so Python Automation Selenium, and you can see the code behind this one in the repository itself. In the master branch, you'll see nothing. You can find all the things in the 8 GitHub repo automation. You can see the code behind we have done so far. Okay, in the main.py you can see the code. Okay, and if you like the videos and this playlist, don't forget to give a star here. And yeah, with that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon near to it. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in the very next